Awards winners, we're not just celebrating past success, we're highlighting the very best of Congress right now. These are the offices finding new ways to serve and communicate with constituents. The teams who are building supportive, motivated, and high-functioning workplaces. The members and staff breaking down partisan barriers and demonstrating shared commitment to effective governance. The Democracy Awards are more than a ceremony. They're a celebration of what's working in Congress, of the staffers who go the extra mile, and the offices that raise the bar. They're proof that good government isn't just possible, it's already happening. At CMF, we're proud to honor those in Congress who are strengthening democracy through outstanding public service and showing what effective governance can look like today and every day. The awards. I'm Jen Dalby, the CEO of the CMF has an almost 50-year history of being the premier bipartisan foundation in service to Capitol Hill. We work year-round to provide programming to members and staff. The Democracy Awards is our signature event where we honor the best and brightest of our institution. Nearly 80 offices applied for this year's awards, and this event is our largest yet. I want to start by thanking a few folks who made this program happen. The Democracy Awards isn't just a morning breakfast, it's a months-long program. Sarah Thompson from our team is our project manager and made this event happen today. Jordan Davis leads our comms and produced that amazing video we just watched and all of our beautiful materials here today. Thank you also to Carson Bailey, Colin Driscoll, Jesse Vega from our CMF team, and especially the Ways and Means Committee for letting us use this beautiful space this morning. And also I want to thank our volunteers that are here and making this breakfast possible. Speaking of volunteers, I would also like to recognize this year's selection committee, made up of members of our board. Could you please stand? I would also like to recognize our additional board members in attendance. If you could please stand. And last but not least, I want to thank our sponsors who support our mission and make these programs possible. I appreciate you. Our attendees today also include those that make this institution work every day. Catherine Spindor, the Chief Administrative Officer, Kevin McCumber, the Clerk of the House, Jennifer Hemingway, the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Senate, Jackie Barber, the Secretary of the Senate, and representatives of the Architect of the Capitol, the Library of Congress, and the House Sergeant-at-Arms. Today, we are all institutionalists, but every day, you and your teams make the First Branch work. Thank you. At a time when public trust in democratic institutions is strained, it's easy to overlook the day-to-day work of congressional offices that serve their constituents with purpose. At the Congressional Management Foundation, we want to highlight what's working in Congress and celebrate the offices that go above and beyond to serve the American people. Too often, media coverage and public discourse focus on partisan gridlock. We want to recognize the offices and staff who are quietly making a difference, from responding to thousands of constituent requests to developing groundbreaking digital tools for civic engagement. Many congressional offices are models of professionalism, empathy, and innovation. The Democracy Awards shines a light on this essential, often overlooked work. The Democracy Awards remind us that Congress is not just an abstract body. It's made up of real people many of whom are working incredibly hard to do the right thing for their constituents and for this nation. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. I would like to recognize Alex Alonso from SHRM, who will be presenting the Excellence in Congressional Management.
Good morning. I'm Alex Alonso, Chief Data and Analytics Officer at the Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM. At SHRM, we represent nearly 340,000 members in over 180 countries who then represent and care for the lives of nearly 362 million workers worldwide. Our mission is simple. We are aimed at providing and empowering people and workplaces by advancing the HR practices and maximizing human potential. Easiest way to remember us is to think about this and only this. If it's a work thing, it's a SHRM thing. I'm here on behalf of my colleague, Emily M. Dickens, SHRM's Chief of Staff and Head of Government Affairs. Together, our teams provide members of Congress and staff like you with research and insights on workforce and labor dynamics, as well as trying to arm you with the latest trends that make you truly effective. We recognize that labor force trends and workforce research are critical as our economy depends on skills, talent, and workforce readiness. At SHRM, we take a policy, not politics, nonpartisan approach. We focus on evidence-based guidance to strengthen our workforce and to fortify the world of work throughout the United States. We know organizations succeed when they put people first. Our research shows that employees who work in a positive workplace culture are 4 times as likely to stay with that very employer. And what's even more jarring is 80% of them are willing to say that they're going to put their best work forward for that employer. That's why SHRM partners with the Congressional Management Foundation each year to present the Excellence in Congressional Management Award. We also sponsor CMF's handbook given to congressional offices at the start of each Congress to help members establish and improve their very own workplaces, their organization. And beyond that, SHRM serves as a resource to you and your staff whenever you are thinking about the world of work. This morning, we honor 2 exceptional leaders. Representative Richard Hudson, recognized for his work on national security, healthcare, and energy policy, and Representative Nikki Budzinski, recognized for advancing broadband access, labor policy, and workforce development. Both exemplify how strong leadership and effective management create high-performing teams that serve constituents and constituents' interests. Representative Hudson, would you please join me on stage?
Man, that's a good-looking award. Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be with you, and Alex, I appreciate that kind introduction. I want to begin by thanking the Congressional Management Foundation and everyone who makes these democracy awards possible. To be recognized for excellence in congressional management is a tremendous honor, but this award really isn't about me. It's about the men and women on Team Hudson who really do the work. You know, my wife Renee and I were both chiefs of staff, so it must be really easy working for me. No, but I understand the long hours and the hard work. And the one thing I've always tried to do is make it real clear what I needed, so my staff doesn't spend a whole lot of time doing a whole lot of work cranking out things that I don't need. So from that standpoint, I guess it's not bad having a chief of staff as a boss, a former chief of staff. We also know the sacrifices that individuals make to work in these congressional offices, and really appreciate that. And so I think that's why it really means a lot to be recognized as being an excellence in management office, because it's about supporting and motivating and encouraging your staff. And the way I look at it is we're a family. You know, we're a team. We look out for each other. I can remember one of my first chiefs of staff came up to me one morning and said, "Hey, sorry I wasn't at that reception last night, but my son had his first soccer game." And this was like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old. I said, "Todd, if you ever skip your son's soccer game to go to reception with me, you're fired." And that's really the approach you got to have. And the second thing is understanding the mission. What are we doing here? Why are we working the hours? Why are we doing the work? And it's about one thing, and that's the constituents. It's the people, in my case, of North Carolina's 9th District who elected me. And I've said many times to my staff, I said, "Hey, this is a cool amendment. I know we're busy, and this is exciting, but returning that phone call to that person in the district is way more important. That's our job. These other things are extra that we do." And we have an annual retreat every year. And I know some staff groan and roll their eyes when they think about having to go to a staff retreat. But I think it's real important that you stop once a year, you get together, you socialize, you try to have a little fun, but you spend time really understanding what every person in the office does, what's their role, how does it fit, and then you get one mission. You know, my first chief of staff came in my office like second week when I was on the job and said, "We need a mission statement for the office." And I said, "Great, what's a mission statement?" And she said, "Well, what do you want to be known for when you're done being a congressman?" I said, "Well, I want my integrity to be intact and my marriage to be intact." And she thought about it for a second. She said, "Well, that's pretty good. We'll go with that until we get a real one." Since then, we've worked at these staff retreats developing a mission statement. This last time around, the Congressional Excellence Program helped lead this staff retreat, and they said that we went through an exercise where I said what I think is important, and then the staff came up with the words of the mission statement. And I'll finish by just reading that to you. What they came up with is that we humbly fight every day on behalf of North Carolinians to empower them to build better lives for themselves and their families by serving with unwavering faith and integrity and advancing policies rooted in conservative principles. We will leave this country better than we found it. That's pretty darn good. And it shows that we did a good job of me explaining to them what this means to me. They internalized it, and they now have a mission that we're all working on together. That's why we're able to achieve excellence. So thank you for the recognition. Thank you again to the Congressional Management Foundation and all the folks involved. And to all of you staffers out here, thank you. You're serving your country. You're making a difference, and we can't thank you enough. God bless you.
And now, Representative Budzinski, would you join me on stage?
Good morning. I first want to start out by just saying a huge thank you to the Congressional Management Foundation for this award, and to Jen Dalby for all of her leadership. I also want to say congratulations to each and every one of the members that is being honored today and recognized for the work that they do up here on Capitol Hill. And I also just lastly want to acknowledge I have my Chief of Staff, John Lee, and my Legislative Director, Yusuf Nexad, here. And we're here to honor our staff and the work that they do, but I couldn't do this without the two of them. So I just want to say a thank you, because this award is really more than something certainly about me. It is about my incredible team that represents the 13th Congressional District, both here in Washington, but also in Central and Southern Illinois. For every congressional office, our staff is the heart of our operations. They don't just serve the people of our district, they serve each other, lifting one another up and always striving for excellence. This year has been an incredibly challenging one, with folks at home asking for more assistance and guidance than ever. My staff have taken that confusion and those challenges head on, whether that's through assisting someone with immigration casework, connecting with local businesses waiting for an IRS check, or simply listening on the phone to a constituent in need. The systems and procedures they've built make our office not just functional, but exceptional. They've created a management and communication model that is efficient and deeply collaborative. And because of their efforts, our office is always on the go and known both in DC and at home as being accessible and responsive. We are always asking, how can we be better? How can we do more? Whether it's drafting legislation, planning town halls or community roundtables, or responding to constituents in real time, this team is committed to excellence. And that's not just about our external operations, it's about our internal ones as well. Each staffer has come so far, taking steps to advance their professional skills and become a leader. Together, we have instituted new practices and policies that foster growth, encourage open communication, collaboration, and support. Their dedication allows me to do my job as a fully engaged voice for my communities. Someone who can see not only what's happening on the floor of the House, but also what's happening in a small town, in our district, in a family-run business, or in just someone's daily life. That connection between kitchen table and the halls of Congress is possible because of the team that I get to work with each and every day. I'm grateful to them and to all of you for this incredible award. Thank you again for this honor.
And now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Stefania Janachkov from Waymo, to present the Best of Bipartisan Collaboration, Engagement and Collaboration Awards.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alex, for that introduction, and a warm-hearted thank you to the CMF team and to Jen for her incredible leadership over the last year. I've had the honor of serving on the CMF board now for 4 years, and it's just been such an honor to see the growth of the mission and this incredible organization. I'm Stefania Janachkov. I'm on the federal policy team at Waymo. If you haven't heard of us, hopefully in the next year you will, because our cars are on the road here in DC. Whoa, okay. Thank you. We're an autonomous technology company with the mission to be the world's most trusted driver. It's a big mission. We've been doing this 16 years. We started as the Google Self-Driving Car Project. AVs are no longer science fiction. I know some folks think they still might be, but we've been actually operating a fully autonomous ride-hailing service in Phoenix since 2020. I was just chatting with my friend Tiffany Moore, and she promised me she's going to take a Waymo from the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport to Scottsdale so we can all wait for her LinkedIn post about her experience there. But seriously, we've come a really long way over the last 16 years. Today, we're in half a dozen cities around the country, Phoenix, San Francisco, LA, Austin, Atlanta, and Silicon Valley. We are currently providing 250,000 paid trips a week. That's 1 million a month. That's 5 times where we were this time last year. As of May of this year, we've provided over 10 million paid trips total, which is double from where we were this time last year. So we're definitely not done yet. This is just the beginning. As I mentioned, you may have seen the cars driving around DC. DC is one of the markets we've announced for next year, along with Dallas, Denver, Miami, and yesterday we announced Nashville. And so this is really, truly life-changing, life-saving technology, whether it's providing accessibility options to people with disabilities or mobility challenges, but also addressing to reduce the tens of thousands of lives that are lost to traffic accidents. I'm particularly proud of the safety data that is available to the public that shows that the Waymo driver is making roads safer where we're operating. Just one statistic I'll leave you with is in the 96 million miles we've done fully autonomous on public roads, we have been involved in 91% fewer serious injury causing crashes. That's pretty remarkable. We've been building our fully autonomous ride-hailing service for everyone, not just one type of driver. And as we scale, we continue to collaborate and work very closely with the communities that we serve. And so it's this culture of collaboration that I think is also shared by our exceptional honorees today. The Best of Bipartisan Engagement and Collaboration category emphasizes the significance of cooperation between political parties. It recognizes a congressional office and member that has demonstrated exceptional success in building bipartisan relationships, fostering collaboration, and achieving positive outcomes through compromise and consensus. The winners of this award demonstrate that meaningful purpose is possible through bipartisan cooperation and a shared commitment to effective governance. I'm so proud to present to you the winners of the Democracy Awards for Best of Bipartisan Engagement and Collaboration, Representative Don Davis and Representative Jay Abernalty. I'd like to ask Representative Davis to please join me on stage.
Well, good morning. It's so good to see each and every one of you today. And let's do this. Let's give Jen a big hand, everybody. Jen, you and your team are simply amazing. And let's be clear, you've continued the spirit of CMF and these awards seamlessly, and I thank you for that. Also, Jay, which will be coming next, I want to just say to you, my friend, that I couldn't think of another person to share this space with. I've been to Jay's home, and him and his wife, they're amazing. We've broken bread together. CMF, you are awesome to take the time to recognize offices. And I want to let you know that I'm truly indeed humbled to be able to receive this award, and especially during these times of partisan engagement in the midst of all of this that's taking place. And above all, I want to thank my colleagues. You don't get here without having colleagues that you're able to work with on all sides. So I'm humbled to receive this award for bipartisan engagement. This recognition is not just a reflection of my efforts, but my friends, it's our collective work that we've done together to bridge divides. We have to continue to do this work. It is so important for our country. And it's not just the members, but it's also our teams who are talking back and forth to each other, trying to figure out how we can work together on policy. And I want to say this, and it's so important. This is about the people, the American people. When you talk about appropriations, when you talk about policy, it's not just words, but it has a real meaningful impact to real people, whether it's Eastern North Carolina, across this nation. So I'm grateful for this. And I will simply say to each and every one, right now, I serve on the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors. President, important Charlie Kirk, we sat beside each other. The lights weren't on, there was no podcast, and to just engage in meaningful conversations. There's no substitute to that. And I think, if anything, in receiving this award today, too, is sending a strong message. We're stronger when we're working together and we're talking together. And this is how we push back towards political violence in this country. So thank you. And I believe this is a symbol of not who we are, but who we can be. We must continue to rely and trust in God. And I will say to each and every one of us, in God we trust, now more than ever. And may God bless all of my colleagues, all of our offices, this Congress, CMF, and may God bless America, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Davis. And now I'd like to ask Congressman Jay Abernalty to join me on stage for his award.
Wow, what an honor. You know, I don't know whether I should be happy to be getting an award for bipartisanship or depressed that there needs to be an award for bipartisanship. I get told all the time that bipartisanship is a lost art, that the natural state of affairs is partisanism, and bipartisanism is an aberration. But I don't believe that. I believe it's the opposite. I believe the natural state of affairs is bipartisanism, and partisanship is the aberration. And there are really practical reasons for that. And I think members of Congress need to think about the practical reasons more. I mean, for example, I can't tell you with any certainty who's going to win the election next year, who's going to control the House next year, who's going to control the Senate next year. But I can say one thing with 100% certainty: whatever party controls Congress, the margin of power is going to be small. And it's going to be small for the next decade or two at least. And that has practical implications for every member of Congress. It means that if you want to get anything substantive done, you need 60 votes in the Senate. That means your policy has to be bipartisan. There's another reason that bipartisanism is good for America, and that is this. Things like entrepreneurialism and innovation and investment are very hard. They are much, much harder in an atmosphere when business doesn't know what the rules are going to be 2 or 4 years from now. Investment hates that. Investment wants certainty. They want to know what the rules are going to be. If policy is bipartisan, then the changes are small. But if policy is partisan, then every couple of years the rules governing entire industries can completely change. That is not healthy for America. But there is a bigger reason why bipartisanism is important, and that's having to do with our role as leaders. We have channels of communication for speaking to our constituents that are available to very few people. And taken together, I think that members of Congress have one of the largest voices in America. That means that the way we talk about each other, the way that we talk about our colleagues across the aisle matters, because our constituents are listening. And if we give our constituents the idea that our colleagues are the enemy, that our colleagues hate America, that our colleagues aren't working in their best interests, our constituents will believe it. If instead we give our constituents the idea that although we might disagree, we all play for Team America first and Team Republican or Democrat second, then our constituents will believe it. And I believe in conveying that message, we can change the tenor of debate and the relationships between constituents across our country. And that's why this award is so important to me. So I want to thank you very much for your work, not only in recognizing the awardees today, but in setting a high standard of conduct for people in office. It means a lot to me. I know it leads a lot to the people that I serve with. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman Abernalty. And now I'd like to call my friends from the Consumer Technology Association up for the next award, Tiffany Moore and Michael Petricone, who will present the Innovation and Modernization Award.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you to the Congressional Management Foundation and the outstanding work that they do, and we're very, very proud to be a sponsor. The speeches coming up have been extremely inspiring, and more of this, please. So the Consumer Technology Association represents 1,300 tech companies, including incredible members like Waymo. I just took my first Waymo self-driving taxi ride in San Francisco. It was incredible. So can we have that in DC tomorrow, please? It was amazing. But of our 1,300 members, 80% of them are small businesses and startups. And running a congressional office is like running a startup, right? You gotta upgrade and adapt and serve your customers better every day. And our honorees show that Congress, yes, Congress, can innovate, can hustle, and work smarter for the American people, that is how you restore trust in government. So congratulations to our honorees. Tiffany.
Good morning. I wish I could take this breakfast and bottle it up in a shot for my coffee every morning because I could use this. And so this is an important moment, and kudos to Jen and the team and the work that you do at CMF. I am proud to present to you the winners of the Democracy Awards for Best of Innovation and Modernization, Representative Bice and Senator Brian Schatz. I'd like to welcome Congresswoman Stephanie Bice to the stage.
Well, thank you so much. I first want to start by saying thank you to a few people. This award is not mine alone. It is shared. And it is shared with amazing people who have supported me over the last 2+ years of being the chair of the Modernization and Innovation Subcommittee under House Administration. Former Staff Director Derek Harley, Director of Member Services Jordan Wilson, Marion Currender, who's subcommittee staff, and of course my own personal office staff, Rob Sarr and CJ O'Neill. I wouldn't be standing here without the support of those important individuals. When I was chosen to be the subcommittee chair for modernization and innovation, I was at a little bit of a disadvantage because I didn't sit on the select committee that had been formed 2 Congresses prior. So I had no idea what had been done previously. And it was those individuals that I mentioned that were crucial in making sure that I was up to speed and I could hit the ground running to really do what our mission was, which was to make this institution work better for the American people. When most people think about Congress, efficiency is probably not the first word that comes to mind. I think it's safe to assume that most people also don't think of Congress as particularly innovative, especially when it comes to using the latest tools and technologies. But despite frustrations, there are ways and opportunities to improve the way we work. And you can look for them, and that's exactly what the Modernization and Innovation Subcommittee is doing. As the subcommittee chair and the representative for the 5th District, my focus is certainly constituents, and they are better served by a Congress that is equipped to work more efficiently. We have done a lot of work over the last 2+ years in this space. Things like a flag tracking portal for those staffers that used to be a staff assistant and know how convoluted the flag tracking process is. A House calendar, a Legidex, so you all don't have to go hunting for email addresses from your colleagues. A expanded documentation submission electronic documentation submission process. These are just a few of the things that we are looking at, and we saw a need, and we're trying to solve those problems. These solutions make us work better and more efficiently for those that we serve. And I look forward to continuing the work in the 118th and beyond, and appreciate the recognition of the Congressional Management Foundation and the Consumer Technology Association for honoring me with this incredible award today. Thank you.
I'd also like to recognize our honoree, Senator Brian Schatz. Unfortunately, he was unable to be with us today, so I will be accepting this award on his behalf. But I know there are members of his staff here, and we appreciate his commitment to innovation and modernization. I'd now like to recognize Ry Barcott from With Honor, who will be presenting the Best of Constituent Experience in DC Award.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm Ry Barcott from With Honor. It's a delight to be a partner with the Congressional Management Foundation for this gathering here. What we do is we help support principled bipartisan veteran leadership and also members of Congress with a national security background. And the main way that we do that is by working with the 4-Country Caucus FOR Country Caucus of 37 members in the House, and we branched out to 11 members of the Senate. It is great to see so many FOR Country Caucus members recognized here, including our former chair, Jason Crow, who's here for his Chief of Staff, who's recognized as the Chief of Staff of the Year. I see August Pfluger on the list, Seth Moulton, who I'll introduce in a moment, and of course, the minister and the current co-chair of the FOR Country Caucus, Don Davis, who just brought it today, this morning, a moment ago. We are going to partner with the problem solvers this afternoon. Please come out if you'd like at 3:50 on the House steps, an impromptu gathering. All are welcome to recognize and make a call for ending political violence and a sign of unity in this restive time. We're delighted to be a part of that. Okay, on to the show. So it's a real pleasure to introduce Congressman Dusty Johnson. I have admired him ever since being at the Harvard orientation for freshmen, where he made the entire room laugh with his boundless energy and optimism. That is a line in his bio, and it is certainly appropriate. It's no surprise that he also has great constituent services in D.C., which is the award for today. So without further ado, Congressman from South Dakota, Dusty Johnson.
It is ever so exciting to be here at the Oscars for Congress. The Oscars for Congress. For those of you who have been too nervous but have wanted to ask what I'm wearing today, it's JCPenney's. And I'm always kind of inspired by people who are able to overcome great hardship in their career or in their life. And can I just tell you how much it should mean to all of us to see what Jen Dalby has become. Just to be able to overcome having Rodney Davis on her resume is touching so much. Have any of you, by a show of hands, have any of you ever had a 12-year-old? Okay, a few of you. May God have mercy on your souls. They're just exhausting people to live with, and they're pretty tough customers, right? So I was giving a tour one evening around the Capitol, and some of the South Dakota constituents, one of the South Dakota constituents was a 12-year-old, and he was just kind of not impressed by anything. I'm used to this because I have had 3 12-year-old boys over the course of my fatherhood. So I'm really trying to amp it up, play it up, right? I mean, I'm really trying to get this kid excited about my facts, you know? I mean, the surrender of Cornwallis, let me tell you more. We entered the rotunda, and the kid looked up, and he got quiet, and he said, "Oh, wow." Now, I got to tell you, it is really hard to impress 12-year-olds. And particularly in the age where they're just bombarded by things that move and are loud and flash, it is really hard to impress a 12-year-old. But there we were, under that dome, and a 12-year-old was awestruck. And I know sometimes my colleagues and I act like this campus is an octagon for partisan pugilism. If we remembered, by seeing it through the eyes of a 12-year-old, that it is instead a sacred temple to this great American experiment, maybe we wouldn't be such boneheads every day. And so part of the reason that our team has given 1,000 tours, that's not a made-up number, 1,000 tours. People like Jonathan and Kristen and everybody else work so hard. But part of the reason that I've given 70 evening tours in the last few years is because, not just so that our South Dakotans can have a great experience, but so that we can be reminded what an unbelievable blessing it is to be able to work in that temple every single day. To my team, to the foundation, to my colleagues, and to all the 12-year-old boys and girls out there, thank you.
Wow. Awesome. So moving. It's a pleasure to introduce for the next the counterpart for DC Constituent Experiences, Congressman Seth Moulton. Seth and I have been friends for a long time. We actually were in a foxhole together at the basic school right after September 11th. He went on to serve 4 combat tours as a Marine Corps infantry officer, and he has been just a critical partner for With Honor and the establishment of the 4-Country Caucus, one of the first pieces of legislation that we got behind. He did all the hard work with some Republican and Democratic counterparts, was his national suicide hotline, the 988 bill, which has saved thousands of lives, including a couple that I know personally. He also introduced the Global War on Terrorism Memorial Foundation Act with Mike Gallagher, who we also served with. We are actually going to head to a 4-Country Caucus meeting in about a half hour, where we will see the actual unveiling of the initial design, which is chaired by our friend Elliot Ackerman, a Silver Star recipient from the Battle of Fallujah. It's no surprise that Congressman Seth Moulton has amazing constituent services in D.C. He learned a lot about leadership in the United States Marine Corps, which turns 250 years old this November 10th. And Seth Moulton.
Wow, it's an honor to be up here. Dusty, you've given me a tough act to follow. You know, sometimes when you appear with colleagues from Congress and you get an award like this, you look around and you say, Jesus, you know, how did that guy get the award? And that is not the way I feel standing next to Dusty Johnson. I am very proud to be his colleague, a friend, counterparts on the China Committee, or I should say partners on the China Committee, counterparts in a partisan sense, partners in terms of the work we do. And when I look at the lineup over there on the other side of the room, August, another member of the 4-Country Caucus coming up soon, it's an impressive group. And I know that people don't generally look at Congress and say, wow, what an impressive group of people. People are rather frustrated with Congress right now. But it's an honor to be with some of the best here in this room. Sometimes you also get an award like this and you walk up here and you say, how the heck did I get this award? And the answer to that, of course, is my amazing team. They're the ones who make the constituent experience happen for all the folks who come into our office every day of the week. And we are so proud to provide a good constituent experience because it goes to the heart of what this job is about, which is serving other people, serving the constituents that I work for every single day. Now, one thing people like to talk about in our office is this kind of amazing art collection. Some people ask how I collected all this art, and I have to say that, yeah, that's not consistent with the salary that we get here in Washington, D.C. It's from this amazing museum in this district. And a quick story about how this happened. When I got elected, they offered to provide us some beautiful artwork. And we're very excited to go into their collection and come up with a lineup of paintings that they thought would be appropriate for the office. And every single one of the paintings that they picked was a historically significant old white man. And I said, I don't know if that's quite the look that we're going for. How about nautical? How about maritime? And so there's a lot of maritime art in our office. But Dusty, one other thing. I do take your note on 12-year-olds. When my first daughter was born, the first call I got, which is a measure of how good he is at politics, the first call I got was from Vice President Biden. And I had no idea what to say. I was kind of in a daze as a first-time dad. And so we said, well, what is it, a boy or a girl? I said, well, it's a girl. And, you know, my friends say that girls are great for the first 13 years. And Vice President Biden said, yeah, well, about 12 and a half. So I'm not there yet, Dusty, but I'm taking notes, and it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you all very much.
Good morning. I'm Randy Ford, President of National Right to Congressman. Delighted to be here today. A little bit about National Right to Congressman. Since 1958, we have been delivering constituent opinions, constituent communication, primarily from the small business community up here. I did a little research. In 1958, the postage stamp was 4 cents. Fax machine hadn't been invented yet. And this World Wide Web thing was something maybe of a science fiction novel. But the one constant from that time to today is the opportunity for constituents to express their opinions, to be involved, to be engaged with the members up here. And that is so important. It has been expressed a number of times by some of the members, some of the award recipients. And that's the work that we do. And very proud to support the Congressional Management Foundation. We have been here since the beginning of these awards. This is a really big deal, right? It has been said, this is the big event. This should be on primetime TV, in my opinion, because this would change the narrative that I think a lot of people have of our country, of the work that's done up here. If people could see and hear from both the R and the D and the respect and the support and appreciation, I think that would go a long way in changing the narrative of what people out there think about what happens up here. So we're proud to support this event and really support the staff also. I mean, I love that the staff is getting the recognition because that's where the work is really done. And the tireless hours and all the effort that goes into to making the boss look good, right? That's kind of the number one job. But so we are delighted to be here, delighted to hand out the award for Best of Constituent Correspondence and Outreach. And so first I would like to bring up Senator Raphael Warnock from Georgia to the stage.
Randy, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. First, let me thank the Congressional Management Foundation for this recognition and for all the work that you've done for nearly half a century to help public servants and their staff better serve the American people. Let me say that I am incredibly and deeply honored to receive the 2025 Democracy Award for Constituent Correspondence and Outreach Services for my office's work in the wake of Hurricane Helene last year. I have to say I'm a little bit embarrassed to receive this award. This is a perfect example of members getting credit for stuff their staff does. But you all give my staff a round of applause, please. They're the ones who do the work. Not just my staff, but all of our staff. One of the great things about this work is constituent services. Let's face it, we live in a time in which our nation is deeply divided, and we're so consumed with the culture wars that there's not much focus, not enough focus on the real problems that confront us. And I think we could get together, if we would get together and focus on the real issues that we all have in common. If we would recognize that at the end of the day, what we want is for all of our children to do well. The amazing thing about constituent services is that it transcends partisan differences. I can't tell you how many Republicans have walked up to me and said, you know, I didn't vote for you, but I called your office and you solved the problem for me. I said, well, you gonna vote for me the next time? No. Occasionally I get a take-up. I'll take that. But listen, I didn't run for the Senate to win awards. I ran to serve Georgians. I often say that I'm not a senator who used to be a pastor. I'm a pastor in the Senate. I'm used to walking with people, even as I work for them. And sometimes we can't solve these really big problems, healthcare, issues around creating opportunity in our changing economy. We can't solve these big problems on a dime. But in the meantime, we do get to walk alongside people and just solve everyday issues. And so I want to thank and congratulate my staff for the ways in which they responded in the wake of Hurricane Helene, hosting community resource clinics across the state, helping connect 200 Georgians in rural communities to in-person federal resources. The way they arrived early on the scene to distribute water, food, and supplies. I was there with them for a little while, but they really did the work, creating a digital one-stop shop of resources to help Georgians recover, alerting Georgians of the deadline to apply for federal assistance, meeting with community leaders and frontline responders, and traveling with President Biden to South Georgia to hear directly from impacted farmers. When I was on the ground in Georgia, just trying to do the work, trying to connect folks with services, I was really taken by the spirit of the people of Georgia, their resilience, their commitment to one another. I was inspired by Wayne Lanier, owner of Lanier's Fresh Meat Markets, a barbecue joint. And he sells his food every day, but he was out there just giving it away, making sure that the most marginalized members of that community were well taken care of. And I can cite example after example after example like that. The Tabernacle Baptist Church and others standing up and just creating a response unit right in real time to respond to their neighbors. The man I ran into on my way to that area who had a generator, and his neighbors didn't have a generator, and he just started cooking for everybody. And so this is the spirit, the American spirit, and at the end of the day, we need more of that. So thank you very much for this award. God bless all of you. Keep the faith.
Okay, now I'd like to ask Congressman Pfluger from Texas to please join me.
Guys, I'm going to keep it brief because you're hearing the same message every single time. And this is not about us. It's not, I mean, this is the most humbling award that I've ever received, and I'll tell you why. Because in 2019, when I transitioned from the active duty Air Force into running for this seat, I had a guy in Midland, Texas tell me, he said, I want you to write yourself a letter. And in that letter, I want you to describe what it is at the end of this journey, at the end of your public service, that you want to have been known for, that you want to accomplish. And he said, I really want you to focus on the people that you represent and what they need and what they're asking for and all this stuff that goes on in government. None of it matters if you don't hear and you don't communicate and you're not in touch with the people that you represent. And so to stand here today and to look over at my team, John and Brooke, Bethany, Alex, and like the senator did, I want to give them a round of applause for the job that they do every day to help us represent. If you didn't have an office that was motivated, then you wouldn't send out the flyers, you wouldn't communicate. We have what's called the Pfluger flyby. Yes, Air Force pilot, I got it. By the way, how do you know that there's a fighter pilot in the room? Don't worry, they'll tell you. They will let you know. 42,000 people have signed up for this, and they advertise our services every single day. And to be able to be recognized for that outreach and that communication is really special. When you walk through the grocery store, and when I was first elected, having written that letter to myself, we set out to be the gold standard of constituent services. And the feedback that you get when you walk through a grocery store back in my hometown and somebody stops you, hey, Congressman, I called your office last week. And your heart stops for just a second. But that was only the first or the second year. My heart doesn't stop anymore because every single time somebody stops me, they say, I got to call back. They emailed me back. They took care of my issue. I got a guy that called into one of our telephone town halls, and he said, I want to tell you something. Your office reached out to me and helped me with the tax issue. And he said they were able to do something. For 2 or 3 years, we hadn't been able to get this return back, and we got $32,000 back. And I am able to pay for my grandson's college tuition now. I don't know that there's any better feedback. So I want to tell you guys thank you for recognizing this. There's a lot of things that we do on a daily basis, but nothing is more important than keeping in touch with our constituents and being able to receive feedback. So thank you not for recognizing me, because it's not about me. This is about Karen Kirkendall. This is about Hillary Stegemuller. This is about Monica. This is about all of our 6 offices that we have back in Texas, 350 miles from Odessa, Texas to Killeen, Texas. This is about all of them. Thank you very much. Thanks for what you do to recognize the team that we serve with. God bless.
And next, I'd like to recognize Dr. Jamie Murillo from United Health Group.
All right, this is going very, very well. So good morning, everyone. And thank you to the Congressional Management Foundation, and congratulations to all the winners. When Senator Warnock was talking about serving constituents from different parties, it reminded me of a situation when I was practicing cardiology. I got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning from a patient saying, "Doctor, I have jaw pain, and I just had some work done in my teeth last week, so I don't know what to do." And I said, "Did you call your dentist?" And our person said, "I'm not going to wake up my dentist at 3 o'clock in the morning." Okay, now you have a cardiologist for that. Great. So a United Health Group, our mission is to help people live healthier lives and help make the system work better for everyone. And when we say everyone, it's everyone. We are currently hard at work transitioning from healthcare in America from a volume-based, oriented and transaction-based system to a system that rewards high quality, that addresses both clinical and personal and social conditions, that emphasizes preventive care. Our focus is to improve health outcomes and lower costs in service of keeping people healthy. That's the key word, healthy. As a cardiologist, I can tell you, there was a point where you realize that it's not about treating heart attacks or heart failure, it's really preventing people from getting to that point. And that's what we're working hard at. Building such a system starts with providing great customer service to every single individual to live our mission, solve problems, and give people peace of mind, which is why we're proud to partner with Jen and the CMF to support the Best of Constituent Service Award. These 2 congressmen and their staff excel at making the federal government more responsive, accountable, friendly, and effective to their constituents. Just to illustrate that point, I just learned that Congressman Moore has about 18 people serving 720,000 constituents. And for Congressman Auchincloss is probably similar with serving approximately 800,000 constituents. And just to illustrate that point, today we have with us Anna, who is part of Representative Moore's staff. She flew from Utah just to be present. Anna, would you please stand up? She handles at least 300 cases at any given time. So it's thanks to people like Anna that we can do a better job serving our people. So I'm now proud to present to you the Democracy Award for Best of Constituent Service to Representative Jake Auchincloss and Representative Blake Moore. Congressman Auchincloss, would you please join me on the stage?
Good morning. I'm honored to receive this award on behalf of my staff for the Congressional Management Foundation. And while these awards are about constituent services in various capacities, I don't think it's any accident that the members who are receiving these awards for constituent service are also the ones that I most look forward to working with on policy. I'm seeing here, Blake Moore and Dusty Johnson and Buddy Carter and August Pfluger, and these are the kind of members that I, as a Democrat, want to work with across the aisle. And I think those two temperaments, the ability to deliver excellence in constituent services and the ability to be a good partner in policymaking here on the Hill, are really closely related. I think all of us, though, would say constituent services oftentimes usually is more resonant than the policymaking that we're able to do here on the Hill. I think something like 80% of politics is returning phone calls. I learned this myself. I'm on term 3 now, but after my first term and a half, we decided to do some public opinion research in my district and do some focus groups. And this was back when Democrats had power and we were feeling pretty good about all the things that we had done, infrastructure and climate action and gun violence prevention. And I was doing a lot of work on drug pricing issues. I was feeling pretty good about the policy issues. And we did all these focus groups and polling. And boy, if you want to be humbled as a politician, watch some focus groups of people talking about you. They would ask, hey, what do you think about Jake Auchincloss? Blank stares. Like, I don't know, he seems like a nice guy, I guess. He's fine, I don't know what he, like. But then someone in the group would say, you know what though, my cousin had an issue with Social Security and they called his office and they solved that. Or the IRS would not get back to me and they called his office and they took care of it. And that compounds. It builds trust, and what is most in shortage in politics and public service today is trust. And excellence in constituent services, returning those phone calls, builds trust. So I really want to thank my staff and uplift my staff for their work building trust. And I want to uplift the staffs of everybody here who won this award for your work in building trust across partisan divides. Thank you.
Now, pleased to present Congressman Moore with the Best of Constituent Service Award.
I am so appreciative of Dusty Johnson. I don't start every morning that way, but I'm very appreciative of Dusty Johnson for mentioning that this is like the Oscars for us. As I looked at the other awardees, an incredibly distinguished group of people, very well respected, and Dusty, my team was like, they're all individual awards, not in any particular order, but if it's like the Oscars, the event builds to some of the better awards as it gets further down the evening. And so I'd just like to mention that as we are, Jake and I, as the Best in Constituent Service Award. So you take from that what you will, and I'll briefly share the remarks that I wanted to give. And I actually would look at this as my job is sort of like the supporting actor. We joke about whose name's on the wall, this or that. The work that my team does, though, really does put me in a supporting actor role. I'll start and end with a story from back in the district. At a town hall, as all of us recognize and realize, the people that come to most of your town halls are the most angry of the bunch, right? And they're mad about something, and I'm just getting reamed in this town hall. And one guy stands up and asks a question. He said, I actually just wanted to highlight that I've had an IRS issue for over 2.5 years, and it's been very difficult financially for me. And I contacted Blake's office, and within 2.5 weeks, this was solved from start to finish. And it was the most attention that I've ever been given in a customer service capability. I left that town hall and I called my casework team and told them how much I appreciated for them making my job easier, because that changed the entire tone of the town hall. And I think I'm glad that happened early in my time, because then it's helped me to realize always be grounded in making sure that what we're doing on constituent service is important. Before I forget to mention, just again, Jen Dalby, a sincere thank you. I don't think she even recognizes. She was instrumental in me choosing the chief of staff that I did choose, who's back here as well. One of the best, easily the best professional decision I've ever made. and all the sponsors. You've been, this kind of stuff doesn't happen unless you're willing to recognize this, so thank you for putting the time and effort and the resources to make this happen. So thank you to both of you. I'm just going to quickly ask, not Hannah to stand up again, so thank you for recognizing Hannah. I'm going to ask Liam to quickly stand up, her son, because every passport request I get comes on Friday evening at about 6:30 p.m. when some probably member of my stupid family or somebody else realizes that their trip is on Monday and they've got a problem, and it's me bugging Hannah all weekend. So the time away on the weekends that Hannah takes away from her family is definitely a labor of love that she gives to our district, and I'm sure that has been more than bothersome to Liam or something at one of his Little League games. But I mean, I could go to Will, Lisa, Madison. I mean, these folks are amazing, and again, it all comes down to this is literally a supporting role for the rest of us, members of Congress, in what our teams do. I love that our team has been thoughtful about new ideas and how to outreach and get Google Play and using social media and things that have never really been done before to be able to reach out to our constituents. The fact that we can use some of our resources to contact folks to remind them, hey, come join the Veterans History Project. Come and be a part of, remember, we can help you with one of the government agencies because they sometimes need to be reminded that there is somebody there that can actually help them. And that type of stuff it's the doldrums of the job, but it is some of the very most important. I went over to a neighbor of mine. His name is Dan Marriott, congressman from Utah from 1977, was first elected in 1977. And he was actually my neighbor. And I went over to his house when I was running for Congress, kind of on the front end, and I just asked him, I remember asking him a question, what was the most important part of the job to you? You know where I'm going to go with this. And as he thought about it, he said, you know what? It really was the constituent service. To me, I spent the last 9 months working countless hours, even I fell asleep right there if you hadn't seen the clip, on tax policy. And I think it was probably the most important thing in my world. But I know when I look back on what my impact was in this, there was an individual that was wronged by his agency that he wasn't going to get his retirement. And Hannah and Sherry, our team back in Ogden, reversed that ruling and was able to get that individual the fair work that he was, and the fair retirement that he deserves. I mean, that changes lives, the type of stuff that we get to do. So I am very confident learning from what Mr. Marriott said to me 50 years after he had served. The part that he remembered was the constituent service, and that is something that I'll take away from this. Thank you so much.
I would now like to recognize Tim Monahan from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to present the Chief of Staff of the Year Award.
Hello, everyone. Good morning to you. I'm Tom Wickham from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Some of you may know me as the former parliamentarian of the U.S. House, and this is a huge moment for me because, as you know, they never allow parliamentarians to speak. So this is my Sydney Sweeney moment, and I'm going to make the most of it. I'd like to first thank CMF and Jen for all their hard work in honoring you great people in this room. Let's give them another round of applause. I'd also like to thank the members and senators who employ these chiefs of staff who are going to receive these awards that have chosen to be with us today. I know that means a lot. I was honored to serve with all of them, and I commend you for your service and your choices of chiefs of staff. At the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, we are the world's largest business organization. We represent over 3 million businesses worldwide, and we have a saying that businesses can't function when the government doesn't function. So I salute all of you in this room that work to make these institutions function so that the business community can carry out their important mission. And I'm especially proud to be a member of the Government Affairs team at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which has such strong institutional ties. Former Representative Rodney Davis, a former staffer and chair of the Committee on House Administration. Tim Monahan, former Speaker's staff, former Committee on House Administration. Nick Crocker, former Committee on House Administration. Keely Broom, former Ethics Committee. And the wonderful Brooke Miller, who knows every scheduler in the House. So today, I offer you the U.S. Chamber's hand in partnership to make this institution that we all love function as best as it possibly can. And I am now proud to present to you the winners of the Democracy Awards for House Chief of Staff of the Year, Chris Crawford, Chief of Staff to Representative Buddy Carter of Georgia, and Mitchell Rivard, Chief of Staff to Representative Jason Crow of Colorado. I'd ask Chris Crawford to join me now on stage.
Thank you very much. I'd first like to thank my boss, Congressman Buddy Carter, who arrived fashionably late and left fashionably early. So a round of applause for Congressman Carter, everyone. Thank you very much to CMF and your whole team, but I want to plug Jen Dalby, especially for the work that you're doing today and that you've done over the years. You've been a great friend and mentor to me over the years. To my fellow honorees, Tricia, JT, and Mitch, it's an honor to be recognized alongside of you. And to all of Team Carter, I want to thank you for showing up every day and for challenging yourselves. Thank you.
I now ask Mitchell Rivard to join me on stage.
Thank you very much. Having worked for Congress for 14 years, I recognize the danger of this moment that we're in, being one of the last awards and speakers at a long speaking program. But I just want to have a few moments to thank a few folks who have played a role in my life. One, to Jen Dalby and Congressional Management Foundation. Jen and I had a chance to work together over the years as chiefs, and she is absolutely taking CMF to new heights. And so, Jen, thank you, and to CMF for this award. Two, to my boss, Congressman Crow, for your confidence in me to lead your team. I continue to find incredible drive and purpose in doing this work because I work for someone who has absolute moral clarity and conviction and purpose in their work every day, and thank you. Three, to the teams that I've worked with over the years, both on Team Crow but also on Team Kildee for 13 years. Success is truly in the great, agency is truly in the success of others, and we have had the fortunate opportunity to have amazing teams in the offices that I've been a part of. Fourth, to my husband, Scott Zumwalt, who is not only here with me here today to support me, but is there to support me every single day in everything that I do. And five, to everyone in this room, because public service is a noble profession. Congress is an amazing institution, and this is not easy work, but I know everyone in this room cares deeply about our democracy, and please continue to do everything you can to uplift and support the principled, bipartisan, and pragmatic leaders who are trying to lead our country forward in this moment. Thank you again for this award.
It is now my honor to present the winners of the Democracy Award for Senate Chief of Staff of the Year, Tricia Russell, Chief of Staff to Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, and J.T. Juritsky, Chief of Staff to Senator Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia. I'd ask Tricia Russell to please join me on stage.
Okay, so Trish of 20 years ago would be very surprised to be up here when I was an intern for Ted Kennedy, and I accidentally was applying for admin assistant jobs, which Chief of Staff used to be, that I actually am here today. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. I'm less embarrassed than I've gotten over that in 20 years. It took a while. But I do want to start by just thanking CMF. And Jen, you absolutely deserve a tremendous amount of credit for your incredible leadership. And thank you to Sarah for coordinating all of the details today, which I know is not easy. I just think that CMF is one of the rare organizations that really looks out for the staff on the Hill and to support the work that we do on the front lines of this democracy, basically, and to support the very best work that we can on Capitol Hill for our bosses. And you make us better, and you also bring both sides of the aisle together. So huge shout out to CMF for all that you do each and every day. I'm very honored to be in this category with JT, Mitchell, and Chris. They are wonderful, and I'm honored to work with them every day. I wouldn't be here without my big Irish Catholic family, even though I'm an only child. And I think what shaped a lot of how I look at this job and the work we do is very simple. You do unto others what you would want to have done unto yourself. And my parents, between that and instilling in me a sense of community, have really shaped, I think, how I approach all of the work that we do here. For my dad, he was an Irish immigrant in the community of Boston, recently came over. So for him, it was that sort of tight-knit community, and his brothers at Local 223. And he doesn't sound like the type of person that would do this, but he was never afraid to cry. And so I knew I would. Anybody that's worked with me knew I would do that, so okay. He wasn't afraid to show genuine emotion, because that is really the key to connection, and that's what so much of what we do is really all about. For my mom, it's the Boston Public Schools, for which she worked for more than 45 years, so it's no surprise that I've worked for 2 decades on Capitol Hill. It's sort of the way that my parents were. But the kids that she believed in, that she wanted to change the trajectory of their lives, were part of her village. And okay, let me take a breath. Okay. And in creating the early learning centers for early childhood education in Boston and expanding their footprint to help more children, she always said it's all about creating community. And that's what I believe Capitol Hill is, and what each and every one of our offices are, and I try to remember that every day. To my tremendous bosses, Congressman Steve Israel took a chance on a Syracuse grad in the hopes that I would figure out where Long Island was, anything about New York. And there are few people in the world that can see in you what you can't see in yourself. They help you go from being a staff assistant to chief of staff in 7.5 years, and they help build your foundation for success on Capitol Hill. Congressman Josh Gottheimer, if you haven't had the chance to open a freshman office, do it. It is hard, and it will bond you forever, and it will help hone your leadership and management skills. Senator Cory Booker, and I know we are on the House side, and I love the House side, but he helped me go over to the dark side on the Senate, and as folks on the House side would say, and once again had faith in me to do something new. I had not had any Senate experience, and so he had faith in me before I had it in myself to figure out the Senate. And as everybody knows, he leads with love, and so he taught me to do that more and more, which I'm forever grateful for. And Senator Chris Van Hollen, my current boss, I started working for Senator Van Hollen at the mid-March in 2020, which was a challenging time on Capitol Hill, as folks remember. And from that moment until today, I have been lucky to work for a genuinely dedicated public servant that believes in our work in Congress and standing up for what's right, no matter what. I'm sorry, it makes me emotional, but my team knows this. But that principled leadership has made all the difference in challenging times and inspired me to do my small part on Team Van Hollen. I'm thankful to be in the fight with you and the team each and every day. And finally, to all of the staff that I have worked with in these 4 offices for almost 20 years on the Hill. You know that I never shy away from showing emotion, clearly. Your dedication and passion for helping others just always brings a tear to my eye, whether it's going the extra mile for a constituent or not giving up and believing the glass is half full. It's truly tremendous. I'm trying not here to cry more, so I'm gonna keep it at that. Thank you for motivating me to be better every day. And to the lady chiefs on the House and Senate side, Democrats and Republicans, we roll deep, more deeply than we did when I first started. And I wanna thank each of you for always finding ways to help one another. Whether we're on the Hill or folks have moved on, it's a real sisterhood and creates bonds for life. Finally, I want to say that I believe in the many ways of karma on Capitol Hill, and I think it's real. So I would remind everyone that there are always folks that want these jobs, that want to come to Capitol Hill and have these opportunities. We need them. Our democracy needs them, and we are lucky that they want to come here and work here. So meet with them, reply to their email, get coffee, do a virtual meeting, take their phone call, and mentor them. They'll be up here soon enough, and that's part of what makes Capitol Hill and our democracy so special. Thank you.
I now ask JT to join me on the stage.
Almost done. Thank you to the Congressional Management Foundation for this incredible honor. Congratulations to all the members and offices recognized today for your service on behalf of your constituents. Not sure who nominated me, but I can't help but think that if it was someone in our office, it was a desperate attempt to avoid real work, or if it was one of my fellow chiefs of staff to set a low bar for future recipients. That low bar, however, does not apply to Chris Mitchell and especially my colleague Tricia Russell. We worked together on many projects over the years, and you're a true a valued colleague. I'm thankful that they determined to give this to a Republican and a Democrat, because had it been just one, I'm not sure I'd be here. Since this is the first time this award has been given, allow me to convey what it is not about. It is not for getting someone back into the country who happened to find themselves in Iran. It's not about trying to get a passport for someone who was on their way to the airport and realized that it was expired. And above all else, it's not about answering the hundreds of calls, emails, and letters from constituents who may not fully and wholly agree with the senator's position on the issues of the day, or whose internet is out, road is closed, or favorite college football team isn't on broadcast TV. I may not be able to fix those things, but I'm extremely thankful to my colleagues who do, and I appreciate every one of them. I literally started my career in a different century, and with all the advancements in technology and social media, it can feel like it. And as I get older and my colleagues get younger, I appreciate their patience with me for the stories they've heard before and the references they don't get, and for letting me play on the softball team. We are privileged in our office to work for a historic figure, the first woman elected senator from the state of West Virginia, Senator Shelley Moore Capito. We try to emulate her to help, in a very simple mantra, to help make West Virginia a better place to live and to improve the lives of our fellow West Virginians. And I thank her for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for your patience. We have fun. It's not that much of a stretch to say we all know each other in West Virginia, which leads to the ultimate standard I have to live up to, and that is the knowledge that if I screw up, there's a good chance somebody's going to tell my mom. And I'm very happy she's here today. My dad, however, is not here today, but I do want to say, who's no longer with us, but I do want to say on his behalf, it's Jezerski. One thing I'm passionate about is that my young colleagues, the future chiefs of staff, the future members of Congress, and the future leaders back home in West Virginia know what public service is all about. I learned that from so many people, too numerous to name here, and from the example of my hero, President George H.W. Bush. I hope that spirit of true public service carries on. As such, I'll close with a wonderful phrase I heard from one of my favorite musicians, the jazz pianist Bill Charlap. Upon receiving an award for his music, he said, and I quote, that's not his music, he said, "It's an honor to be part of the procession." So I stand here overwhelmed with gratitude to my Lord and Savior for the innumerable blessings he has given me, among them the family I was born into, the hometown where I was raised, and the country in which we all live. And I'm so thankful that today, to those blessings, I will add this recognition that I don't deserve, but I will gladly accept. And I thank you all for listening. And I guess since I'm the last speaker and the House and Senate are both in session today, I'll say, let's get back to work.
One more time, good morning. I am not Amy Plaster, our board chair. I am Michelle Barlow Richardson. But on behalf of Amy, I am happy to give you her regards and apologies, wishing she could be here. I have been honored since April. Oh, I'm sorry, JT, get your award.
I am very grateful, I'm sorry.
Since April, I have been honored to serve on the board of directors of the Congressional Management Foundation, and I am here to close this program. As we do close out it, I want to give a heartfelt thanks for all of our sponsors. I hope you take a few moments, whether you came here on an individual ticket or you're a staffer, or you came with a friend, or you are a sponsor, look at our other sponsors. We are so thankful for your generous support that made today's event possible. I'd also like to once again recognize the incredible CMF staff. The Democracy Awards are more than just this ceremony. They represent months of dedicated work, from collecting and vetting the nominations to hosting our 3 signature awards for this event, the nominees reception, the winners luncheon, and today's celebration. CMF has truly gone above and beyond to make this all possible. Please take a moment with me to thank those individuals who brought it all together. Sarah Thompson, Jordan Davis, Carson Bailey, Colin Driscoll, Jesse Vega, and of course, Jen Dalby. Thank you. Ask for one more round of applause for all of today's award winners. The Democracy Awards may be our premier event, but it represents just one small part of our organization's broader mission. At CMF, our work continues year-round, providing hands-on support, training, and essential resources to help members of Congress and their staff govern effectively and strengthen their connection with the people that they serve. We encourage you to learn more about our work and how you can support it by visiting our newly revamped website, thanks to Jordan Davis, congressfoundation.org. Once again, thank you for being with us today. I hope that you will take a moment, take some pictures, whether it's with award winners or with our banner or with your colleagues, post them on your LinkedIn and your social media, connect with us on LinkedIn, and help spread the work that CMF is doing. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Since 1977, the Congressional Management Foundation has served the Capitol Hill community. As champions for a more effective Congress, CMF works every day to provide support and essential resources to members and their staff. we see examples of dedicated public servants committed to governing more effectively and better serving their constituents. CMF has always looked for opportunities to recognize excellence on Capitol Hill. In the early 2000s, CMF's Golden Mouse Awards honored congressional offices whose websites and social media presence went above and beyond to further transparency, accountability, and constituent service. But over time, it became clear. CMF realized it was time for a new kind of recognition, one that celebrated not just how Congress communicates, but how it works. With guidance from staff, scholars, and former members, CMF created the Democracy Awards. The Democracy Awards are widely known as the Oscars for Congress, each year honoring members and staff in non-legislative categories from constituent service to innovation and modernization. Winners are chosen by a bipartisan selection committee, and by design, every award is split equally between Democrats and Republicans. During the pandemic, the show went on virtually. Some cried, others laughed. All were honored for doing what's often overlooked, making Congress work better. As we honor this year's Democracy Awards winners, we're not just celebrating past success, we're highlighting the very best of Congress right now. These are the offices finding new ways to serve and communicate with constituents. The teams who are building supportive, motivated, and high-functioning workplaces. The members and staff breaking down partisan barriers and demonstrating shared commitment to effective governance. The Democracy Awards are more than a ceremony. They're a celebration of what's working in Congress, of the staffers who go the extra mile, and the offices that raise the bar. They're proof that good government isn't just possible, it's already happening. At CMF, we're proud to honor those in Congress who are strengthening democracy through outstanding public service and showing what effective governance can look like today and every day.